And so we've got to do something. The plan that we have is to make sure that those seniors that are 55 years of age and older see no change to their fully funded Medicare benefits. That's important to me. Number one, I've got an 80-year-old mother, and she reminds me every day that we need to make sure that her Medicare benefits are protected, and of course, that's not the only reason I'm doing it, but we have millions of Americans that are in that same situation, and we need to make sure, because they can't roll back the clock and go back and reinvest their money into health care that'll change the picture for them. They have what they have, and so we're going to make sure that they remain fully funded. And those 54 years of age and younger, they will have the same kinds of options for health care that, say, a member of Congress does. We'll all be in this boat together. Premium support with more support for those that are lower income and at higher risk, and less support for those that are wealthy and able to pay more. So those are some of the kinds of things that we're trying to overcome. And we're also trying to overcome, as you know, several weeks ago, the Supreme Court said that the President's health care law stands as the law of the land. That law cut $500 billion out of Medicare. $200 billion of it came out of Medicare Advantage, which hurt about 36,000 Americans here along the Ohio River who depend upon Medicare Advantage. So we're going to work hard to continue our efforts to repeal the President's health care law and put in place a health care system that's going to keep your health care decisions and the health care decisions of our seniors between them and their doctors, and avoid that $500 billion cut. So we've got a lot of work to do, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. I've also sponsored legislation that will give your pharmacists the opportunity to sit down and talk with seniors and help them manage their prescription drugs. So we're trying to do the right things, but we'll see what you folks have to say.
You got to start. You just need to get rid of Obamacare.
Well, we're trying. We're trying. As you know, I have voted 33 times to repeal all or part of the President's health care law. It's not the right thing for America. It's going to ruin the best, highest quality health care system in the world. It's going to put a panel of 15 unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. in charge of making your health care decisions. And the Supreme Court has now acknowledged that it represents one of the largest taxes on the American people in our nation's history. You've got tax increases all over the place, and we could sit here and list those until lunchtime. But it's a big one, and it's going to stop job creators from growing and expanding and hiring more people, because they simply can't afford to pay these higher health care costs. But you're exactly right.
I'm curious on the people who are under age 55, what that might look like for them. I mean, what's it going to cost? What's it going to be? I mean, I'm past that mark, so I'll say it, but I know several people who aren't.
Sure.
I'm wondering, what's it going to be like for them?
Well, you know, it is going to be different. There's no question that it's going to be different, but we're all going to be in it together. And it's going to be a premium support. Our plan is a premium support type program, and those details are still being flushed out. So I do not have a line by line on exactly what that's going to be today, but I can tell you that the high points of it are that it's going to be a premium support type program, much like Medicare Advantage and Medicare Part D is today, where all Americans have a choice among several choices on how they're going to get their health care. And then it's the same kind of opportunity that, say, a member of Congress does. I mean, a lot of people don't think congressmen and women and senators pay into Medicare and Social Security, but that's just not true. I should have brought a pay stub with me today, but because people oftentimes make that claim, and that's simply not true. We pay into Medicare and Social Security just like everybody else does.
Some of the state systems don't, though, do they?
I don't know about the state systems. I'd have to check on that.
My husband's a state retiree, and he never paid into Social Security or
Now,
Medicare.
yes.
And yet,
yeah.
after he gets 65, they want to draw Medicare from my account.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't seem right either.
Yeah, you know, some of the states have those types of programs where certain employees can opt out of Medicare and Social Security.
They didn't have a choice, they couldn't.
Yeah, and I don't know, rather than speak out of school, if you have a specific question about those, we can certainly take a question and get back to you.
That might help, though, if they have to pay into it, too, because they eventually sometimes access it.
For many do, they work a second job. I know city employees that work maybe one day off two. They run businesses and they get double dip all the way. I'm not, saying they shouldn't because they are working.
Right.
But many that I know get both. And their wives work as a school teacher and they have retirement, so they get both.
See, that's one of the issues that we have is Washington has had such a long track record of picking winners and losers. We've got, from our tax code to our healthcare system, it is so complex, and there are so many conflicting rules that aid this group and not this group that that's part of the problem, is Washington picking winners and losers rather than everybody having an opportunity to participate on a level playing field.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I am very, very concerned about, everyone keeps telling us, well, you can keep your own doctor and all of this, whether we have Obamacare or we don't. But what's happening with a lot of physicians is they're now refusing to accept Medicare patients more and more. Or they're totally resigning their positions, retiring. There was a wonderful surgeon up in Columbus. I mean, he just quit. He said, I'm not dealing with this anymore, and he left. He moved to Maine, and a young man. I mean, he wasn't old.
You've got 1 in 3 healthcare providers today that are restricting or limiting the number of healthcare patients that they have, and you've got a significant number that are not taking any more Medicare patients. Period. Because a surgeon approached me on that subject one day, and he said, look, how long would you stay in business if you made your product for $1 and you sold it for 30 cents? How long would you be able to stay in business and make a living doing it that way? And a lot of these physicians that have a tremendous role of Medicare patients based on the reimbursement rates, they simply can't stay in business at the rate that they're being reimbursed. So it's a big problem. And so as more and more physicians opt out of taking Medicare patients, that's when access is going to become a big issue. And then that's when you're going to have that unelected panel of bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. They're going to have no choice but to ration health care and decide who gets what. And that's what our big concern